Hey there, Dr. Angela here, the author incubator, and I'm so excited to be joined today by my guest, Amari Ice. He is the author of Lasting Love at Last. And I'm really excited to share with you Amari's story of becoming a best-selling author. We've worked together for less than a year. I think we started working together in February.
Yeah.
And we're filming this now in November, so not quite a year. And it's been an amazing journey. And I think if you're in a place where you're wondering, how could becoming an author change my life? Especially if you're somebody who's still working in a full-time job, kind of making that transition to being a solopreneur, I think Amari's story will really help you to kind of clarify what is actually possible. So, Amari, we're going in the Wayback Machine. Take us back all the way to February, like a whole 9 months. And tell me, like, when you joined the Author Incubator, when you made this decision to work with us to get your book done, where were you? What was going on in your life? And why did you want to write a book?
I'll actually take you back to December.
Okay.
So I decided to write a book because I was working in the healthcare field and specifically working with Black gay men around empowerment, social, mental, sexual health, and been coaching for about 4 years at the time. And when I work with clients, I like to give them like books or other resources to reference outside of sessions because people generally don't remember most of what you talk about. And so I looked for books on Black gay relationships and couldn't find any. So I was like, okay, I'll put together a resource to give to the people that I work with.
Handouts.
So I kind of expected to just write this book and stay working where I was working. I loved what I did and just, have something to give to people.
So I have to tell you a little secret.
Yeah.
When I got your application, I was super excited. And so I did what I do when we get all of our applications, which is I Googled you because I like to stalk the hell out of people who apply to work with us. I was like, oh, this is good. I haven't seen a book on this topic. I Googled you. You were all over the YouTubes. I found so many videos of you. So you had a pretty high-profile job serving the community that you actually care about and still serve with your book.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of events. Like every single week, I was hosting another event for my job. So it could be something on relationships or a money workshop or a retreat, something different every single week.
And you said you'd been coaching for about 4 years as a part of your job.
Yeah.
Like you were actually paid a salary to coach people. I think for most people, that's kind of the dream.
Yeah.
So, and you needed this resource for work. Clearly, you could have written this book or another book. That book was probably slightly different. But you could have written a book as a resource and been done with it. Where'd you get the idea, like, hey, I might want to leave this amazing job and go do something else?
Ooh.
Or was that my fault?
So it was a very interesting dynamic. So before I finished the book, before I even started writing the book, I just finished grad school. So I have an MBA in marketing. And so I was kind of already planning to do something different, but I thought it was going to be still in the same field. And I started applying to jobs. I worked for the hospital system in my role. I started applying to other jobs in the hospital system. Thought I was just going to do something
and was
higher
it
up,
just
but
basically like want to make more money, want to have more responsibility?
yeah, and more impact. Like that's what it really was about for me, to really be able to make a bigger difference than what I was making.
Right.
So it was just divine timing. And back to the whole like what made me write this book question.
Yeah.
At first I thought about writing like a book about everything. So it was gonna have a chapter on relationships, a chapter on money, a chapter on coming out to your family. But I realized, knowing myself, that it was probably going to take me 2 years to write that book.
Which is still amazing. Most people spend 20 years and don't get it
but the
done.
way my attention span is set up, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to write that book. So I asked myself, what do clients come to me about the most? What do they really care about? And it was a no-brainer. I'm going to write the relationship book.
Because that just organically, people would always ask you about
Yeah, and most of my experience, my education, I studied communications and psychology, so like the foundation of healthy relationships. I've always been fascinated with people and personality. I'd been hooking people up since I was a little kid. Like it was just my nature to be.
And I know that you like got into astrology early too, because we all tap into your astrology expertise.
Yeah. One of my guilty pleasures, yeah.
And even that, like, so that was something that just you always came back to relationships.
Yeah, always.
With people.
So I decided to write this book on relationships December the 1st. That's when I had the realization, not doing the other book, it's going to be about relationships. Literally the very next day, I saw an ad for your program and I was like, oh, that's fascinating. But it was like Christmas break and I was taking the month off, so I didn't really, pay too much attention. But I'd made my own plan that I wanted to write this book by April the 1st. So from December to April the 1st, because 2 years was not happening for me, was my plan. And I'd watched like a few of your case studies and videos like while I was on Christmas break.
One of my case
I know,
studies.
it was pretty fascinating. And didn't apply though until February. And what really sealed the deal for me was that by joining your program, I was still gonna finish my book in April. And I was like, holy shit, like this is
the plan
perfect.
is real, yeah.
Yeah.
So most people, I think, when they're thinking about writing a book, very often they don't even set a deadline. So I love that you did that. But I don't know where this idea got planted, but people think, oh, it's gonna take me a year. Like I'm take 2020 is the year I'm gonna write my book. And they like set aside a year. What made you think that you could do it by April, even between December and April? What made you think you could do it in 4 or 5 months?
Because it wasn't going to get done if it took longer.
Attention span challenge.
Yeah, I guess a part of my experience, so doing events so frequently, literally every single week, I can see the time it takes to complete a project, and then I can see how long it takes to complete it if I like procrastinate or whatever. And so it shouldn't really take you that long. If you think about it like writing papers. And again, I just finished grad school the year before. And if I'm taking 4 classes and I have a 10-page paper for each one due in the same week, and I can write 40 pages. Exactly.
Right.
It did happen.
Yeah.
That was my life for the last 20
This is what I tell
years before
people.
that.
A book is like writing 10-page papers.
It absolutely is.
It's not my favorite semesters when I've had to write 10-page papers, but I've had those semesters even as an undergrad.
I don't think it's anybody's favorite
Right.
semester.
It's not my favorite, but you can do that in a semester. So for sure you can do it in less time. I love that you made that connection.
Yeah.
When did you think, hey, I think I might end up leaving my job instead of applying for another job in the hospital system?
Oh, so for me, it was, I'm writing this book. I have this skill set. I know how to run a business. Everything's in place. Literally everything. I know how to reach the people that I want to make the difference with because I'm already reaching them.
And you did a book plan. You also did a marketing plan.
I
so you're
did.
like, I know how to get in front of these people.
Yeah. So it was literally on the back of like a postcard. I wrote that I was going to finish it in April. I listed like 12 cities that I was going to do my book tour in. Like I just had this whole little, like literally on the back of a postcard, the whole plan for the book.
So good.
Yeah.
So, and then you think, okay, I've got an MBA. I'm pretty entrepreneurial. I know how to reach the market.
What made me
I'll do
leave my
own
job, I'd started to like just do it part-time. So my business, running my own company. And my name, Amari, means love. And that's actually the name of my company.
I was like, that's your business name.
Right. Pretty cool. But I realized that there was no way I was going to be able to make the progress and the impact I wanted to make if my attention was split, right? If I didn't go all in, I was gonna keep making excuses not to go all in. And my belief is you can either make excuses to have what you want or make excuses to not have what you want. And this is something that I meant to do. Like I couldn't not do this. So it was, if I know that this is my purpose in life, to spread love literally, I have all the tools right now. I know exactly what I'm doing. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
And so initially the plan was to make 5K at least 3 months in a row before I left my job, just to make sure it was viable.
Which would sort of replace your salary.
Yeah. And
I know there's different expenses when you run a business. But
right. And that was like way before. I didn't even like put in my resignation letter yet. And I just realized like I'm not really gonna be able to do this the way I want to if I don't go all in. I believe in myself. I know I have everything that I need. Why not just do it?
So you sign up to write your book. You've got some revenue goals. You've got some goals for when you want your book finished. And now you've got me harassing you on a daily basis, on the daily. What was the experience of writing your book like? So first of all, most people think writing a book takes a year. Most people think writing a book is a solitary thing. You're going to go get a cabin in Maine, I think, and write. That's what you're supposed to do. What was your experience in the author incubator actually writing your book?
So I'm working a full-time job. I'm in an awesome relationship. I have family. I was doing extracurricular stuff.
And you have a job that has events every week, so
Right.
deadline-driven job.
Absolutely.
Because people are coming to the event, so
Yeah,
you can't just blow
I
that
literally
off.
worked from 10:30 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. That was my schedule during the week because we had events. So how the hell did I write a book? And the simple answer is on my phone. I literally spoke my chapters into my phone. So I made a little outline. This is what's going to go in each chapter. And these are like the main points. And I just thought, what would I want to say about these different things? So before I do any of the research, before I look at the stats or think too much about it, let me just get everything out of my head that's in my head right now. So on my lunch break or on the ride to work or the ride from home, I'm just talking into my phone. And at the end of the week, I would organize my thoughts.
So, and you did speech to text,
Yeah.
so you weren't getting transcripts.
So technically, I didn't write a book. I spoke.
You
my
spoke
book.
a book. A lot of people do talk their book in the program.
Yeah.
So I've got an hour. Here's what chapter 4 is about. Let me just talk about all the stuff.
And literally, I finished a chapter in less than 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Like the entire chapter. That when you write it, it's like 15, 20 pages. 45 minutes or less.
Right.
And that was with the thinking, with the, let me say that over, like all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did you find the experience of, so in the program you had deadlines, there were calls with me, like did all of that make it easier and more likely that you would finish, or did it feel like, oh, I don't know if I need this information, or how did that work?
Beyond helpful. So one of the things that I know for sure as a coach is that there's 3 reasons why we fail at any goal we have in life. The first is not having a plan. Obviously, I had that. The second is not having accountability, whether that's self-accountability or having the accountability of a friend, a coach, a mentor to keep you on track for implementing your goals.
Right.
So I knew that with everything else going on, I needed some accountability. And having those weekly calls, being able to ask you questions and having the support of the community, like it was totally integral to that process and made it that much easier. And I finished my book by the goal.
Yeah, okay, so wait, there's 3 things though.
Oh,
You gotta have a
the third
plan,
is-
accountability. I wanna make sure I have it.
I was leaving that one for later, little cliffhanger. No, just kidding. Mindset. You have to become the person who mentally and emotionally has the result or the desire that you want before you get it. Like, if you want to become a millionaire, you don't get the millions and then develop the millionaire's mindset. You have to have the mindset. And that's what generates the millions, which is why you've probably heard a lot of people who like win the lottery and...
You know, I did a book on that.
No.
Yeah, I did a book about lottery winners. It was in my early 20s. And I had to interview lottery winners. And almost everybody who won the lottery had not only lost the money, but they'd lost the money, they'd lost relationships, they'd lost even more money than they had.
Yeah.
And I interviewed 80 people for that book. And 2 of them like had a positive experience with the lottery. Both of them already had money before they won.
Exactly. It's
They
the
already
mindset.
had a financial investor. They already had like people in their family who had money, who talked to them about, you know, investing and how to use it. So that is one of like the big, and obviously, you know, I talk about my weight loss journey a lot because I thought, well, you lose weight And then,
And then-
yeah, because it just made sense. Like, oh, you lose weight and then your problems are solved. And I'm like, how come when I lose weight, I seem to have more problems, which makes me just want to eat a brownie, right? And I think this is so key. A lot of people ask me, even after they sign up, they'll be like, oh, can I do one-on-one sessions with you, right? And this is the whole trick of the group. And you were sort of a ringer for me, which I appreciate. But when you're in the group, everybody already knows that you've committed to your goal. Mm-hmm. So everybody will treat you like you're going to get your book done.
Right.
Right. In their head, they're thinking, I don't know if I'm going to finish, but that guy for sure is. And the power of the group of having everybody see you as the person who finished.
Yeah.
I'm basically brainwashing everyone. Which is like, who wants a dirty
what mindset
brain?
is about.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I'm a big fan of brainwashing. It's like, if you go into the program, we've had 3 people not finish. One of them died, which is a pretty good reason if you're not going to finish. Out of hundreds, 421 people, something like that.
Wow.
And I think this is like the magic of the mindset. Like, even if you try to come into that group and think you're going to fail, like, can you imagine what would happen if you posted in that group or on a weekly call, you're like, I don't think I'm going to do this.
Wow.
Like, it's just not
Everybody would send you messages and call you and come by and what do you need? And like, there's just so much love and support that it's like, you're the only person who might have a doubt that you're going to finish. Mm-hmm. Everybody else is behind you. And that belief, like, I feel like a lot of people in my experience have likely never had that before. Mm-hmm. Like, so many people holding space for them at the same time. Yeah. And that intention, just that holding of the space by other people is enough to get most of us through.
Yeah.
Like, it's the power of prayer or positive intention, or that's what support is. It's holding space for you to succeed.
I think, like, sometimes people hear that concept of holding space and it seems like woo-woo or out there, not practical or applicable to your life.
That's what all teachers do. Teachers know that you're going to be successful. They meet you where you are, but they don't say you're going to be where you are forever. They say you're going to rise to this bar. This is my expectation of you.
Right, by this
the
date.
best teachers do not waver on their expectation. They call the kids up. They call the students up to that level.
Yeah,
that's what
so
happens.
True.
That's what holding space is.
So I know obviously you would not join the author incubator for the purpose of making friends, because that's sort of frivolous. But have you had any friendships or relationships that have come out of working with us?
Like, I can't even count. Like, so many.
And was that something you expected going in?
No. I didn't not expect it, but it wasn't even a thought. Like,
right, I want my damn book.
I want my book done. I want the result. That's why I joined the program. Right. Like, this is what I want to do, and I see that this is a very awesome opportunity for that to happen. I wasn't thinking about friends or community. I didn't even know how big the community was. And that was really cool to see that there were so many people on the same path. Like, I think when I joined, there were probably maybe 24 people or something like that altogether. Like, half of them had already started their books like the month before. The other half were starting with me. So that was really awesome to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things we do in the program is I have you actually start selling, create the program or the product that you're going to sell after the book is done, and to start selling. Had you sold like that before? What was that like for you? Was that intimidating? Was it validating? How did you experience that part of it?
So the short answer is no to all 3 of the questions. So I hadn't experienced selling like that before. When I was like a kid, I had a job at Best Buy, but I was the phone operator for the most part, because voice and personality, so customer service. But no, like, the majority of my career, I'd worked in nonprofit, in the healthcare industry, in, empowering the LGBT community. So I had never sold anything for money, but for me, I guess it was just a transferable skill in terms of to get people to come to an event. It's free events, right?
Yeah, but
So
you're
we did
still
free
selling.
events. Exactly. And one of the things that I realized, both from like my marketing education, but also like personal experience, we're all always selling. If you've ever gotten anybody to do anything, you sold something.
Yeah.
If you got your partner to agree to go to the movies with you, you sold something. If you're in a relationship,
Right.
you sold something.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like to get your kids to eat dinner, to eat their vegetables, you sold something. Like all of that is selling. It's just getting someone to do something that they haven't necessarily done or aren't currently doing.
So you were actually writing your book, working a full-time job, starting to sell your program. And did you actually generate any revenue before you wrote your book? Did you get any clients before?
Well, not from the book itself.
Yeah.
So because I said I was already coaching, so I had clients, but I hadn't like sold from the program. So for me,
When did you like sell like your first client? Like was the book finished? Was it published? What was your first dollar on the wall for the Lasting Love at Last?
It
business?
was $1,700. And so I'll give you my timeline so you can understand the way that this worked for me.
Hit me.
I left my job because I couldn't focus on my business. And that was June.
I seem to remember there were a couple challenging
Yeah.
phone calls too, where you were like, I know you hit your deadline, but you were like close on a deadline. You were like,
It was like a lot going on in
Yeah.
my life, like family stuff. Like everything always happens for everybody when you try to do something really.
car
hard.
accident, cell phone
Yes,
in the toilet.
oh my gosh, we got into a car accident. Like yes, car was totaled, but we walked away, no injuries, which was awesome. So many things were happening. But I left my job at the end of June. In July, I said I need to take this month off and just like decompress. And so we traveled.
Because your book published, I think, June 28th.
The
if I
very end
remember
of June.
correctly.
I
Yeah.
literally left my job the day before the book was published. In July, I traveled. July is also my birthday month. I went and saw family. I finished my matchmaking certification. So I was already getting that as well. And July was just a chill and make peace month and transition to the new mindset. August was my first month in business, okay?
Yep.
And in August, I grossed $12,000 because I was all in. Wow. Right. Yeah. And so like that's been my average every month.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you had basically replaced your salary and then some?
So literally 2 days ago, I looked back at all my numbers and I realized in the last 3 months, I made more than I would have if I stayed working at my full-time job from the end of June through the end of this year.
Wow.
So literally, like in 1 quarter, I made half of what I made at my other job.
That's incredible. So
In my first quarter.
in your very first quarter. Yeah, it's not just one random quarter.
Yeah.
I know we don't have a crystal ball.
Right.
But if we did, if you were to take a guess, if you tried to stay in your full-time job, still do the book tour that you said you would do, still get clients, still get your certification as a matchmaker, and kind of do both things, kind of keep the security of a paycheck and health insurance, presumably it was a hospital. So health insurance and a paycheck and all those things, and built your business. How long do you think it would have taken you to get to $12,000 a month?
I just got like really uncomfortable because that same thought about the book taking 2 years.
Yeah.
I thought it was probably gonna take me a year or two to actually be able to do that. And that's what made me decide to go out. Like I told you, the plan was to make $5K a month before I quit my job.
Yeah, this was
But
a
it
good
was the
plan.
realization that I could not realistically do that without the time to focus. So I made a bet on myself, which was like, if you're gonna bet on anything, bet on you. You are the only person that you can control. You're the only thing that you have any real say in terms of what's gonna happen. So rather than invest in a stock or in someone else to make something happen, I bet on myself.
Yeah.
And it was the best decision I ever made.
I mean, love that. So I love betting on myself too. It's so fun. I'm like the best stock ever.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing that I will make my crystal ball prediction here. I think what most people think is I'm going to keep my job full time. I'm going to do this other stuff part time. Once I get to 5K a month or whatever their number is, it doesn't matter what the number is, then I'll know it's safe to quit my job, right? And what happens is a year passes, maybe if you're lucky, 2 years pass, and you haven't hit those revenue goals. So you're kind of proving, well, I'm not ready to leave my job yet. And then you have doubts about maybe what your business is, or if you're any good at this, or if you're, what you're missing. And I find that people change their business. They start, I don't know, selling crap on Etsy or doing other stuff. Like they start getting distracted. Then they're split even more. And then what I find is people don't leave their jobs.
It's the same reason people don't write their books. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it tomorrow, later.
Once everything's aligned.
Two things. One, we always put everybody else before ourselves generally, right?
Right.
So if you don't prioritize your goals, they're not gonna get done.
There's no one gonna do that for you.
You're going to run everybody else's business.
Right.
That's what's gonna happen. The second thing is, if you don't think that you are going to be able to do something, if you don't believe that it's possible for you, if you don't see that this is something that can be real for you, you're not gonna do the work to make it happen.
Right.
So you have to see it, you have to believe it. And like I said before, mindset is most important. So before you even have the plan or the accountability, it's the mindset that you need to work on. I think that's one of the things that's so powerful about your program. You take people through the journey of really developing the mindset that they need to get there. So I was ready before I even implemented the plan of leaving my job or anything else. My mindset was all the way together.
Yeah, and you look around and you see the other people doing it. And I think
Yeah.
that's what's so powerful about your story and why I wanted to share it is that, we often will think things are out there, but really what your brain needs is more examples. Like, if you want to leave your job, you can leave your job.
Yeah.
If you want to make $10,000, $12,000 a month, you can make $12,000 a month. If you want to make $1 million a month, you can do that too. And it's the more you're surrounding yourself by that being inevitable.
But you can't live a life outside of your mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is totally impossible.
If you can't see it, you can't do it.
You can't.
So just in a couple minutes that we have left, I want to talk about what the last 3 or 4 months of running your business has meant for the people whose lives you have changed. So obviously part of why we do this is, to control our own destiny and freedom and make an impact and all the things that are about you and your amazing message. And by the way, people should get Lasting Love at Last at Amazon, pick up their copy. But what has it meant to your clients? What kind of an impact do you feel like you're having?
I just got all warm.
Because we love her.
Because for many people who are gay, relationships are a huge struggle, right? They're a struggle for anybody regardless.
Yeah, I was going to give you a heads up about that,
But gay people have some unique struggles, going back to the mindset thing. A lot of us have been taught or conditioned to believe that there's something wrong with us because we're gay. So if there's something wrong with me, then by default, that means I probably don't deserve love. I shouldn't be happy. Nobody's going to love me. And that's what a lot of gay people have experienced just from their families. And we only repeat the patterns that we experienced as kids until we become aware of those patterns and do something different. So you go through life creating these situations where you attract relationships that don't last because you don't believe they're gonna last, because you think there's something wrong with you and you think they aren't supposed to last. Again, you can't live a life outside of your mindset.
You're going to prove what you believe.
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, except in this case, it was conditioned. It's not that you decided to believe this, it's the environment. So being able to help people to see that this is possible for them, to see that lasting love is something that they can actually have, and to give them an actually proven process to do that. Like, it's just been amazing. Like, all of my clients, I'm trying not to cry now. Like, it really has made a difference. And I'm just so excited to be able to do work that I love and that is actually changing people's lives for the better.
So why love, why relationships? I know you said that's what people gravitated to you for, but why do you think helping people find lasting love makes the world a better place?
Oh my gosh. Because love is one of the most important things in our lives. Like, just about everything we do it because of love. Like, love gives us courage, it gives us motivation, or we do it for love. So a lot of people try to get better jobs so that they can impress somebody, so that they can be in a relationship. Or I'm doing this for my wife, or for my husband, or for the people that I love, for my children, for my family. Love is the most powerful emotion, and it's one of the most, if not the most powerful force in the world. So that's why.
Love it. Well, Amari means love. That is the name of the business. This is the man, best-selling author Amari Ice. He is the author of Lasting Love at Last. You are America's first certified Black gay male matchmaker.
Yep.
But you will match any man with the man of their dreams. You don't only work with Black men. You work across the diverse spectrum. Do you ever work with women?
I'm not opposed to it. So my focus is Black gay men, but my skill set allows me to work with anybody. I can, as both a coach and a matchmaker, I can either show you how or show you him.
And I can tell you, nice. I can tell you as me reading your book as a woman, the tons of lessons that applied to me as well. So if you have been moved by Amari's story, please check out his book. And if you feel like you are maybe ready to move on from a full-time job, if you feel like you're ready to make an impact, to make that commitment to yourself, and a plan, accountability, and mindset will help you get there, because they are the only things that do. You can find on this page an apply button. So if you check out apply for the author incubator, I'd love to stalk you on Google as well, just like I stalked Amari, even if you don't have cute YouTube videos. It's cool. I want to hear about your book idea and see if we can help you make a difference. That is what we do here at the author incubator. I hope you enjoyed Amari's story. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Thanks for having me.
And we are changing the world one book at a time.